Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Already, I can hear you. The echo on me. Kills me. But anyways, tonight, where are we at? Look at this. What is this? This is the Adepticon badge, because that's where we're from.
I'm not there yet.
You're not there because you're a loser. That's what you are, Tom.
Well, I will be there on Friday. Hopefully early afternoon. We'll see.
We will see, indeed. And so tonight, fix your audio, Tom. So tonight, we are going to be talking about all the spoilers. Obviously, tonight was the big GW community announcement thing. I don't know what to call it. Design studio preview? Sure, that seems good. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything that was in there. We're going to show a few photos and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And that's pretty much going to be the show. This is the all-news show. Tom, are you ready? Are you psyched? Are you pumped?
I love me some news. Is my audio okay?
It's better. It's better. I can still somewhat hear an echo. Fix it.
I'm sorry.
I think it's your show, Tom.
I'm sorry.
Not enough of you. All right. Get into it. So so let's talk about what this was. So tonight they did the design studio preview. So several people from Games Workshop were there, including the head of the community team, and Pete, the head of the game studio, was there. And they walked through sort of a presentation of a lot of stuff upcoming in the next, let's say, 6 to 9 months. And it was more or less a focus on 3 major things. And so that's going to be the stuff. Now, there's other news items we'll talk about, of course, that are also in the larger community. Yeah, just other things that aren't Adepticon specific. But obviously, that's what we all care about, right? That's what we care about. We care about the Adepticon stuff. You all know that there's a Khorne Bloodbound book, or there's a new Khorne book coming, the updated Khorne book. We all heard that. We'll hit the rumor engine, because I think that's going to be an interesting thing. That's for later. It's for later. All right. So what came out of the design studio preview tonight? So, Tom, the first thing that came out was all about the Warhammer community.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you tell us some about that, Vince?
I'm going to tell you something about that. And, Tom, I want to know what you think.
You were tasked with taking copious notes. Did you do that? I
have copious notes. They're all right here in this digital box that holds this note-holding box. I'm looking at them. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. All right. The first thing I'll say is this. Is that, Tom, fix your echo. Is just the following thing. Just mute yourself while I'm talking. Thank you. So the first thing I'll say is this. They're very aware that the Games Workshop has changed a lot in the last 18 months. They made a very big point of that. I thought that was good. They threw up a funny little screen that said, you know, new Games Workshop, which I thought was interesting. They're aware. They've been pushing it. They know it. They're not dumb. They want to do more. That was the main thing about this. So they want that community engagement. They want to bring people back in. They want to get people excited. Tom, you and I have talked about this a lot.
We have.
I think, yeah, and I don't think it's really controversial to say that they've done a lot of community outreach in the last 18 months, right?
Correct. I mean, yeah, they've been very intentional engaging the community and engaging the community websites and the personalities and stuff like that, and bringing them into the dialogue.
Exactly. So interesting statistics. They talked about the Warhammer community page. Most visited page that has ever been in the Games Workshop, like web sphere, whatever you want to say, like ever. Okay, which is impressive because that's sort of an all-time thing. And it has about 1 million interactions each month with the Warhammer community, which I thought was pretty crazy. So let's talk about what things they're going to add to the Warhammer community. What can we look forward to? And I'm starting with the community stuff, and I know this is probably not what people are super excited for, but I think it's really important because there is some big stuff here. First is the community contribution. All the articles, like the regular community submitters, you track if it's people who have podcasts, YouTube shows, maybe Okay, which is cool. This is pretty crazy. They want to do a community FAQ hub. I guess the best way I did type of thing within the Games Workshop, the way it sounded. Frequently asked questions can pop up. Rules changes can be put in by things can be discussed, open-ended, sort of tracking conversations. It can get very live interactive feedback. There's a community source, which I thought was cool. That got a very positive response. There was a lot of people excited about that idea. Sort of Warhammer specific Reddit is kind of like I said, the idea. And what do you think about that?
I'm just distracted by your terrible audio and you jumping all over the place. That said, I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about the idea that they are going to interact with the community on these things and to take feedback on kind of the FAQ, on the questions and on the rules stuff. I think that there are a lot of valuable voices in the community that pay very close attention to kind of the whole entire rules suite. And I think that being able to aggregate some of those interactions would be valuable.
Was I jumping all over the place? Was I not coming through clearly?
Oh, you are totally all over the place. It's bad audio. It's clear that the stream, like the entire internet network there at the hotel, Adepticon Hotel, is buckling under the weight of GW's announcement, as people are furiously tweeting. So I apologize to our viewers if they're having a problem with Vince on his 56K modem.
Apparently, yes. I'm dialing in from 1996. I tried to clear everything else out, so hopefully this is better.
But this is clearly not the GW of 1996, and that's what's important here.
No. Yes. So let's talk about the big community news, and that is, we talked about the app and its success. Am I coming through better now?
A little bit better.
Okay. So they talked about the app, and they said that the app wasn't going to be good enough. What they needed was a browser. Okay. Browser-based solutions sound familiar to you? Something that must. Okay. How's it going?
Sorry, Vince. It's so terrible. It's so good. It's like GW. Remember. So we have popularly talked about on this show the GW, the aura, like the disruption aura of like taking bad photos. Mm-hmm. And apparently that disruption aura has extended to the internet in our show because it is working really hard to not provide information to all of our viewers that have come to watch the show.
Here's the short answer. Hopefully this will come through okay. To the Warhammer builder, to the Warhammer community. There you go.
Yeah.
Did that come through all right?
So no, let me translate for the world. So what has happened is that GW is going to be introducing Scroll Builder to the Warhammer site as starting in May. The Warhammer community site. They're going to partner with War Scroll Builder and provide that for the community, which is a super exciting opportunity. Vince had mentioned that the General's Handbook was one of the most popular books ever for GW. So they're bringing that 3 ways of play into 40K. And so that's one of the other aspects of this is that 40K is bringing in these kind of 3 ways to play, and people were blowing up already on the 40K sites about like how bravery works in AOS is being adopted in, and people are losing their minds already minutes after the announcement. Battle Shock in 40K, all of those other kind of aspects of AOS seem to be coming in this new next revision. So that'll be exciting. Doesn't really affect us much. There were leaked images, by the way. I don't have those, but of Death Guard Nurgle models for 40K. So those rumors that we had spoken about in the last couple of shows about the potential of a short 40K Nurgle release coming seems to in fact be true, and that's good news for us. For those of us that have been wanting Nurgle, maybe we can get a 1-week volume drop, much like the Khorne volume that's dropping in April. So that's pretty exciting. Vince, do you what are your thoughts, or are you communicating at all? Are you out of the Tron world yet?
We'll see. I don't know. How well is this coming through? It's making me very angry. Am I still Mr. Roboto?
No, actually, it's pretty clear.
All right, good. Well, I'll try to hold still. Video image up. Yes, they talked about. Here's the take-home point on 40K. It's going to stay 40K. Like, despite what was said about the Battle Shock rules, the way that they talked about a distinct movement value coming back as opposed to movement assault phase, charge, like they talked about how you would strike first when you charged. But for the most part, to imply was that of the lessons of AOS, but for the most part, 40K still sounded a lot like 40K. Yeah. And yes.
Hey, Vince.
Yeah.
Can we try something?
Yeah. Sure.
Turn your face off.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that. That's fine. You don't need to see the hotel. All right,
we don't need to see you. Oh, talking head Vince.
Talking head Vince. All right. So does that come through clearer now since it doesn't have to send the video?
Clearer. Much clearer.
All right. There we go. Now we've got it. Okay. Thank you, Tom. Good call.
I'm
sorry I
have
to be.
Thank you, viewers, for that suggestion. It indeed will make a difference.
Yes.
So maybe the show will be watchable for the next while.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm sorry that I have to deal with the crappy internet. All right, so 40K. Saying 40K, but nonetheless, you've got the 3 ways to play. So that tells me we'll also have the open and the narrative and stuff like that. And so, I mean, that's the 2 other ways. But for the most part, when they walked through the phases and they described how things are working, the big stuff was like, there'll be this new element called command points that reward you for building your army according to the narrative. So if you build your army like the story, I have to wonder if that's not going to eventually make its way into Age of Sigmar. Right?
Do you think it could be like an optional system for narrative gameplay, maybe in the GHB2?
Possibly. It's the way that they described it was if you build your army to fit the way the armies are sort of supposed to work. That is like as opposed to skew lists.
That sounds like it's 90-degree design.
I don't know. I don't know enough. I mean, again, I don't want to prejudge off of a single sentence.
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
Let's not read too deep into it.
Yeah.
But as they said, appropriate to the narrative. They're bringing back armor modifiers for guns and shooting to make things more as opposed to just whatever, sort of flat, which I thought was interesting. And charging strikes first. And the biggest one was like, it sounds like they are just wholesale implementing Battle Shock in 40K. Just wholesale. Okay. Now, the other thing I will say is they did spoil some of the 40K Nurgle models. Am I still coming through okay, Tom? Is this much better now without the video?
Yeah, you are.
Awesome. I apologize to all the viewers for a crappy first 15 minutes. They showed a bunch of the Death Guard, okay, like a ton of them. And some of them looked like Chaos Cultists. Like everybody was all focused on the Marines, which certainly looked cool. But the Nurgle Chaos
Which look like Blight Guard. Like they look like Blight Kings, let's be honest here. Blight Kings with guns.
Some of them, yes. Some of them are much skinnier. They had a bunch of they had varying sizes. To me, they'd make awesome Nurgle-specific Marauders. Cut the guns off, you've got an AOS Nurgle Marauder. Like, I guarantee you're going to see conversions of those cultist dudes. They looked really variable and really cool just in the few shots we saw.
Don't get me wrong. I love me some Nurgle Marauders, so I'm in.
Yeah, they were awesome. Nurgle, but I can respect a good design, and they were super cool. So that's kind of all 40K. It's not really our bag. Let's get on to what really matters here. Shadespire. We ready to deep dive into Shadespire, Tom?
Let's do it. Our new game that's not what we thought it was. Oh, we talked about it.
See if I can summarize. We talked about it a little last week.
The GW distortion field's kicking back in, Vince. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
Go.
Let me see if I can describe Shadespire for everybody.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of classic sort of deck building element games you would recognize. Like,
oh, okay, Vince, I'm going to stop you there.
And games.
Vince, nobody can understand you. So what Vince is trying to communicate is that this is going to be a combination of a tactical game and also a deck building game. And it's going to be a combination of elements that we've seen in a number of different games all kind of coming together. And so I've posted some photos that have leaked out of the event. Vince, or have you cleared up at all? Try talking.
Let's find out. How do I sound?
Good. Try to talk in short bits, just like short audio clips. It's when you monologue that your audio messes up.
Well, this will be great viewing then, I'm sure. So it's a greatest hits Warhammer game ever. It's a little bit of the dice are reminiscent of Hero Quest.
Okay. Like, do they have symbols instead of numbers? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. And you have to roll certain symbols at certain times. Attack or defense. You know, it's very Hero Questy.
Well, actually, that sounds less like Hero Quest. Because if you remember correctly, Hero Quest had the little wooden red dice with gold pips.
Yes.
You're actually thinking about Battle Masters, which the map on Battle Masters was 3 axes and 1 shield per 6-sided dice.
Yeah, Hero Quest had the same thing, but that's okay. The red dice you're talking about were movement dice.
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess you're right.
Okay, so
can I just point something out real quick? Of the image that I'm sharing right now, I want to point out Vince is clearly staring intently here at what's going on. Okay,
about it. All right. So let's talk about the board. The board comes in 2 distinct pieces and can be set up in different ways. It doesn't have to always be like this, directly adjacent to each other. It can be set up in different orientations, different alignments, completely different. Like, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, like, so you're saying that these 2 panels that are side by side, but the orientation of how the actual encounter or the arena is constructed can be a variable.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any direction, and they don't have to be aligned. Okay.
Okay.
Like you can have them askew.
Yeah, you could have like
only have
3
partial connection.
Yeah, like 3 squares of each side connecting or whatever.
Yes. And setting up the battlefield is sort of part of the definition of the challenge. Okay. The decks, you choose your heroes, you build your warband. So there's a warband building element to this. Okay.
Okay.
All the characters are heroes. All right.
Okay.
All of the heroes will have rules for this. They will have rules for AOS, and they will have rules for Warhammer Quest.
Interesting. So when they like, if you were to buy one, like, let me ask this. So do you know, like, when you buy the pack and get like 4 of each, because it looks like you'll get like we have 3 or 4 of each or something from the images that we have. You're going to get all the rule sets in one, or are they going to be downloadable?
They did not say.
Okay.
They just said it would be usable in all, and they said for AOS there will be war scrolls. So my assumption.
Can you lock on me, by the way, as you're talking?
I am. I'm locked on you right now.
Okay, good. Continue.
So the city that this takes place in, the framing narrative
is Shadespire.
Is that this is a Shadespire? Yes, but the Shadespire itself is a cursed city ruled by Nagash, and he's using it to trick. There's treasure scattered all over the city.
Okay.
And he's tricking the heroes into coming here and sort of forcing them into like a mirror realm.
Interesting.
Where they have to fight eternally.
So, Nagash is using Shadespire like like the Silver Tower in a sense, and that he's using it to trap heroes. Interesting.
Correct.
I wonder if this is, by the way, remember the graphic that we got that was clearly Nagash's face?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if that's what this is. Like, I'm looking at the board in the current image, and I see like a broken statue on the ground. Obviously, that's not the same one, but it just makes me wonder if that's what we're looking at from that one rumor image that we had.
I think you're exactly right. Yes, and I think it was just that without the hex grid, right?
Yep.
The facing for the hex grid, as I could tell, I don't know if there's another layer there hidden that we didn't go through in the demo game.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we
other
totally lost.
little. Do you see that? Glowy orb.
Yeah, you're talking about the orb that's on the table, like in one of these hexes?
Exactly. Or that you randomly set, so that further customizes the battlefield.
So you're saying that these are terrain pieces that you can place down, like maybe at the beginning or during, like as things develop?
Beginning.
So that's kind of like, in a sense, that is ironically like Battle Masters. Battle Masters, for anybody that remembers, was a large, like 3 foot by 3 foot hex grid map that you were moving units across hexes. This is heroes, and you actually had terrain pieces that you were placing that were hex terrain pieces. I know this because I just introduced my 6-year-old son to it a couple weeks ago, and he's absolutely loved the game.
So you see the gold cards in this picture? The gold cards.
No.
The gold cards on the right side of the picture. Our right, screen right, Tom.
I'm looking. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had it off my. I do now. I had it all like off center, off my screen.
The objective cards. So the game has. See the little. You see the 4 little of the person. Do you see those?
No, because you were breaking up on me. So I see the cards and I see the objectives on the board.
Okay. So there are the little markers to the right side.
Yes.
Of the hero cards there are your activations. A game consists of 4 activations. Yes, those. Each one of those marks one of your activations where you can activate one of your heroes. Okay.
Okay.
You get 4, and the game is 3 turns long.
Oh, okay. So you'll have a total.
So there are 12. Correct. 12 activations in a game. Exactly. Does that make sense so far?
It does.
The game is meant to be super duper fast and super duper competitive with hacking complexity. So you can, with very little deck building, just using the cards that are in the pre-assigned deck. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Deck. Or expansion packs. Okay.
So, okay, say it again. Sorry, you cut out right when you said expansion packs.
Okay. You can, with either packs or different cards, like build a different deck.
Okay.
The blue cards over there next to the gold are your power cards. Those are the things you do.
Okay.
Those cards. Those are actions you take. Okay, after your activation. Both players get to use those players' activation. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. So the key here is that what they're going for, my perception of this, is they're going for like a total in 45 minutes to an hour. Fast. Very fast. Did that come through okay? I really want to make sure that came through okay.
Try it again.
3 games came through, or you get to play 3 games in 45 minutes to an hour. Okay? Is that tracking? I could hear Tom has a kid. Wonderful combination right now. So I'll keep talking and just hope it comes through.
Yes.
The idea is it's a very fast-paced game. The models themselves are push fit, and as you can see, they're colored. So you can play just straight out of the box with the models, as we're doing here. Your guys get wounded and killed and stuff that you would imagine, the white dice and eating certain symbols. They defend by rolling the black dice and needing to get certain, symbols. Pretty standard stuff. The key is you have not just those goals of killing the enemy models, but you also have your objective cards, which score you points. Move, you can push people around, sit on the various objectives, all those sorts of things. Okay? So there's a lot of different layers of strategy that happen. From base to, getting different expansion packs, playing different, building your different war bands, collecting the treasure, moving around cleverly the objectives, moving models to the objectives, all this sort of stuff is in play. Okay. They're coming through okay, John?
You are indeed. Yeah, it's really fascinating. Just the more I think about this as you describe it, because it really raises some questions. Like, this really truly is a new game. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and it's gonna have a whole new collecting, kind of lineup as you're trying to gather heroes and getting cards for your new, for this new game, to be able to build these decks.
Yes, this is a completely new game. And as they mentioned, it's in the core product line. It will have regular expansions. They didn't mention what that means, but they said regular. And this is going to have organized play push. Okay? Stores and friendly local game stores that participate. This is certainly touch on something like Friday Night Magic, right? Like that's the sort of thing this is going for.
Huh. So you can expect probably like a weekly league at a GW store or something like that. Because again, 3 games in 45 minutes is not, that's going to move very quick.
Yes. Absolutely. The turns were moving pretty fast even during the demo game, and that's with people who had no freaking clue what they were doing. Right? Like somebody literally explaining every move, every roll to you. Like, this is clearly a whole new arena they're trying to jump into, and it represents an easier buy-in. One thing I'll say is the following. Talking about the models, because again, we see here Stormcast and Khorne. My guess is people are already like, not more Stormcast and Khorne.
So here's some of those models, by the way. As we get a little bit closer, you can see some of these new ones. And these are all heroes, you said, right?
All heroes. Yes. Everyone has a card attached to them.
Did they specify how we're going to be getting these cards? With regard
to in the box.
Right, but for older miniatures, like, so for other hero miniatures, like when I buy a hero miniature for Warhammer AOS, will I get cards for this other game?
They did not say.
Okay. Interesting.
They will have, at launch, there will be more factions than just Sigmar and Khorne. So there are more than that at launch. So they did not spoil exactly what that would be. There's the leader of the new Sigmar.
Now, are these soft plastic or hard plastic?
Hard plastic, snap fit. Great detail.
So
I held these and examined these very close up.
So these are they're gonna be like the Island of Blood / Spire of Dawn like snap fit minis.
Correct. Yes. Absolutely right. And you need to go up a picture. Let's just get to it, man.
Yeah, we're burying the lead. Here you go. This is what matters. This is actually the only part about this story that matters.
This is what matters. A female Stormcast hero, actually in female shaped armor. It's a great fig, and she's just a liberator. She has the standard liberator, sort of profile. But super awesome. Like, as soon as I saw this, I flipped out. I was like, this is what I've been wanting. I need more than just her. I want boxes of this. Yes.
So yeah, like, it's interesting. It raises a bunch of questions as well, as to like how we get more. So
I agree.
Yeah, like it's exciting and disappointing all at the same time.
We'll hold out hope. If people see the positive response to this, let's hope that.
Certainly. Like, more female Stormcast would be fantastic. Because you're gonna have to do a whole lot of cutting if you're wanting to reshape those arms.
Sure. I mean, what I'll say is easy swaps too. So if you want, like I like to convert Stormcast heads to other heads, but I could see easily other female heads being put on top of this without a problem.
Certainly. And then the only other image that I had for Shadespire was this, which was the stat card.
So would you like me to explain the card?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let's hope that this actually comes through. Top left is a picture of the miniature unpainted. Exactly who it is, right?
Yep.
And then you got the name, nothing too there. They got a little narrative story. All that's fairly obvious, right?
Yep.
All makes sense so far, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the red number is their life. That's how many hit points they have.
Makes sense.
Fair enough. Let's go up to that. See where it says Sigmarite hammer?
Yep.
Okay.
So they can guess, they can attack one square away. They get 3 dice, and when they hit, they do 2 damage.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
And they need to roll. And they need to roll hammers
roll hammers in order to do damage. The little square next to, let me guess, the little square next to the life. The hex square is their movement, how far they can move on the hex grid, and the shield is probably how many defense dice they get when they're attacked. Yes, no?
You win.
I win. Yeah, look at that. This is, by the way, like the first time, like, Vince didn't prep me on this. So you know what that, well, hold on. But you know what that says? This is good design. Because I was, without really knowing the game, I was able to look at the card and actually discern what each of those numbers meant in context.
I agree. So the point here on the offense is that there are 2 different components to your offense, at least. I mean, like, just on that 3 number, because if you can have the less common symbol and have a higher number of dice, or you can have the more common symbol and less dice, or both, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, there's 2 different vertices.
Yep.
All the dice also have a single critical symbol, which is just an exclamation point, and a critical can only be defended by a critical.
Interesting. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So people,
am I hearing you
taken off quick?
Am I hearing you say that, like, a critical, so you have like 1 exclamation point, you have 2 of the one symbol and 3 of the other symbol?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds like that's what the math would be.
Maybe 1 dice. I'd have to look at them.
Yeah.
To memorize that, but I didn't because I'm a bad person.
Sure.
There's a varying number of symbols. It might be actually like 1, 1, 1, something like that. I don't remember.
Huh.
Symbols. That's what I'm not sure So, clearly it's a relatively small number of figs. You can see they've got like the modeled bases and stuff. Like the bases were fairly ornate.
Yep.
The figs are very detailed. There's a lot of interaction because after the figures move and attack, and then you play these power cards back and forth.
Okay.
And the defender gets the reaction. So there's a very like strategic element to it. Even though it's your turn,
Okay.
the other person can respond with their power cards.
Yeah.
Okay. And sort of turn the tables on you unexpectedly during your activation
Now,
and set themselves up.
I think I
for the next
misunderstood this. For the power cards, is this like a hand that you hold in your hand? Okay.
Yes.
And do you have all of the power cards, or is this
Correct.
that you draw and you cycle throughout the game?
Draw 5. Your hand has 5. You draw back up to 5
Okay.
at the start of each turn. So you've got 5 or 4 activations.
Sure.
Assuming you don't have any cards or special abilities that let you draw more cards. You draw 3 of the objective cards. Like if you stand, you gain this. The red one. You gain a point. And
Yeah.
so during that turn, you have that particular objective.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay. I mean, all in all, it was what it really seemed like to me was I saw the elements of a lot of when you think about the city, raiding a cursed city for treasure. What does that sound like to you, Tom?
I mean, it sounds like Mordheim.
Right. And then you think about like the dice, and those are very Warhammer Quest, Hero Quest, like that, right? The nature of like attack and defense, those are very much off of the old Hero Quest or Warhammer Quest card, right? Like way back. Feels very much like that, right? When you looked at the design. Does that make sense?
It does. Sorry.
You're fine. The assembling of the warbands and all the different warbands was very much like Necromunda or Mordheim. Your various warband out, those that are available. And how exactly you build them? Into that, like I don't know the cost.
Sure.
Or like stuff like that.
Like is it just one hero for one? But that wouldn't make sense because this is already like unevenly odded, like uneven odds with the heroes. It seems.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how many heroes you get or what the design, like what the mechanism is for that. I'm sure somebody else will spoil that at some point. What I will say is that this does have the standard balance where you can assist your friends. Like being person next to you is beneficial. Smaller forces of more elite, powerful dudes steamroll a larger group of weaker dudes because the larger group of weaker dudes can gang up and gain bonuses for that. You understand what I mean by that? Like if you got
a little bit
2-on-1.
Yeah, and there are associated bonuses for like overwhelming an opponent.
Correct. Exactly. You got it.
It seems like a very multifaceted game and something that I don't think many of us were necessarily expecting.
Yeah, they said it's been in development for about a year, and that they're hyper focused. Balance, like replayability. That was their 2 chief goals. Yeah, well, organized regular match play around this that was balanced and replay.
Huh, interesting. That's interesting for them to kind of put a finger on those 2 Because it seems like that's like they're really trying to tap into a younger market, lower buy-in. You know, maybe like an X-Wing esque.
Oh, absolutely. 100. Yeah. That is absolutely what they're thinking, I'm sure. And obviously I didn't say that directly, but yeah.
Did they talk about the cost? Like the cost for these heroes? Like, are they really going to be sitting at that $30 price point per hero?
Because the way that they talked about it, you buy them in, like, you kind of can get the crews as a whole crew.
Okay.
And sometimes individual. They didn't really talk about price points. The question was asked, and they said more of like a TBD type of thing. They deflected on that question. So, but here's the thing. I would imagine you're talking about the base boxed game, which comes with all the tokens you see, right? The figures, like the cards. All of this is the base game. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And did they give a price point at this? Like, are we looking at like a $60 game like Gore Chosen?
Yeah, they did not give a specific price point to this.
Like, I can't imagine that this, like, the price point is going to be more than 60. I mean, this will clearly get them into into the board game aisle, which is a good news. And especially if they're crews, I mean, they may be able to end up in some of the big box retailers as well with something like this.
Right, and I mean, you've got the snap fit playable out of the box models.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've got clear expansion material with additional crews, additional decks of cards, stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, and then you've got full on whole expansions that would add more boards, you know, more tiles, more objectives, those kinds of things. So this can be expanded in a ton of different ways, which is also obviously, I'm sure, something that is appealing to them and frankly to the players too.
Huh. Interesting.
The fact that this game would have a future, a clear set, sort of rolling release schedule, I think is something that's appealing. I mean, what do you think about that? About the idea of basically having a new game in the family that is the entry point organized play match game that gets people. Is this the toe in the water for people into Games Workshop they've been searching for forever?
Maybe. Like, it's so funny because I look at this and I'm like, well, I don't know if I want an X-Wing game. You know, for me personally, just because like I do, don't get me wrong. Like, I love what this is. Like the tight, quick play, and it would be probably easy for like me to sit down even with my kids and roll some dice on and to really kind of wrap your brain around. But like, I just think about just the endless like financial investment that something like this is going to entail. Like, right?
Sure.
Am I wrong in that, do you think?
Yeah. Well, I don't. I mean, I think that there's an up and a downside to this kind of a format, right?
Right.
Gathering territory here, right? We're not talking about like a new set every 3 to 4 months with, you know, massive buy-in to get everything you need. That's not what we're talking about.
No, but it could easily be a master set every year. Like, let's just hypothetically. You could easily do a master set like this every year with a new board and new core heroes. And then do like 1 to 2 expansions per year, like spread out every 3 to 4 months, right? A pack of 3 or 4 heroes, a 1-week release. Or maybe, you know, like, that doesn't seem out of the norm, right?
No, I don't think so at all.
I mean, or I could even see like each release might be 2 different hero packs. So like a release for this would be like maybe a set of 3 heroes, and you could do 2 sets of those. Maybe like a destruction and a death the next time around or whatever. And this is almost echoes to me of like they're still trying to tap into some of that same market that like Blood Bowl echoes or taps into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there are definite echoes to Blood Bowl here, but even simpler, right? Because Blood Bowl still kept its classic rules, which were a little more complicated.
Sure.
Right? I don't want to. I don't want to like over say that Blood Bowl is not, but it is a more complicated game. This had exactly the type of design that we talk about.
Yeah.
Simple foundation, but a lot of complexity you can build on top. Okay.
Yeah.
In how you can then scale up the decks, scale up the your crew.
Is this
scale
the
up.
face? Can I interrupt you real quick? Is this the face in this image in this bottom left-hand corner of the image? Is this that elfy face that we saw leaked the shadow, like when they announced this event? Do you remember what
like it?
It does, doesn't it?
It's got that. Yeah, it very much looks like it, yes. A different board piece or the other side. These were two-sided.
Yeah. Ah, Vince, come on. You didn't look close enough, did you?
No, I didn't flip a table, Tom. Rude as people were actively playing.
You didn't get real close and like move all the miniatures to the side and examine the artwork.
Right. I didn't walk up to the table and be like, "Excuse me, I know you're in the middle of a demo game. I'm just gonna flip this over real quick to verify a rumor engine image. Thank you."
Clearly, you're not doing your job. That's all I'm saying.
So I think that's more or less everything that was spoiled. Those were the three main things talked about: the community, 40K, and Shadespire. And then we got to go and play Shadespire.
So what didn't we get with this release?
Well, I mean, the design studio, what we did not talk about was any kind of, actual future releases for AOS.
Yeah.
The much rumored Shadow or Cthulhu elves. Yeah. None of that. Do you want to bring up the rumor engine picture for today?
Yeah.
Because that was, it's an appropriate transition.
Yeah, and it's funny because like Hastings had said that and I trust Hastings, he's very reliable. He had mentioned that like we would likely see some of those shadow elves tonight, and we didn't. That didn't happen. Let me just say that.
It did not.
It did not. So here's the rumor engine that got leaked, or didn't get leaked, that got released today by the community team. So can everybody see that just fine?
Yep.
So here's some fascinating things about this. So when I first looked at this, I'm like, oh, look, it's cute. It's a dragon. And then I looked at it and I went, no, that's not a dragon. There are no legs, folks.
Yep, it's just weird tail.
Weird wrappy tail. It has a tummy. But you get up here to the head, and it has like doggish, like a ferret head, maybe. Like it's the best. A hairless ferret. A hairless flying ferret with ear holes, no ears, and vestigial eye holes. Because it doesn't look like we actually have eyeballs, but rather like maybe where eyes once were. And a little cute button nose. What do we? I mean, I have my suspicions as to what we're looking at here, Vince, and held, by the way, by a very white hand. I will say that it does look like they've messed with the color saturation in this photo.
Yes, they did. Let me ask you the question, Tom. Like, this is absolutely desaturated. Is that intentional? I don't mean duh, it was an intentional thing they did.
Right.
I mean, is there a deeper level of intent? How did they make this colored, Tom? Go ahead. How is this colored?
Probably a lot more vibrant and purple.
That's not what I mean.
Okay.
Here's what I mean. I'll just say what I mean.
Yeah.
And hopefully it comes through.
Yeah. It's not coming through if you're trying to make it come through, Vince.
The image to purposefully. It's Ulgu. It's shadow.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Shadow because it's shadow. There
Okay,
would be color.
So let me translate that for Vince, for anybody that did not hear, is that the color saturation is an intentional move by GW to communicate that this is like Ulgu, like color desaturation, which is what you'd experience in the plane of shadow. Yeah, I could buy it. That's where you're going, right?
That is where I'm going. 100% the case.
Yeah, and I would actually suggest that we are looking at our shadow elves here. This pose is reminiscent of our Dreadlord that had the little dragon buddy.
Yep.
It has your purples, which were not unusual for elves. And so I had pointed out the eye holes that aren't actually eyes. They look like vestigial eyes, that have gone the wayward. And when I described this to Vince, he's like, "Oh, underwater elves." Because you don't need your eyes in the deep depths of the sea. And I would agree with that. But I think probably more importantly, I actually suspect that you just don't need that in light. So if you're in a plane of shadow, you don't need eyeballs, or you don't need them as much. You're not as dependent upon them, and they may go by the wayside if there is indeed macroevolution in Ulgu. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think that we're probably looking at a shadow dweller that doesn't really have eyes, and it kind of looks snakish with wings and alien. Like, more than anything, this looks alien to me.
I totally agree. It's absolutely that weird otherworldly alien look, right?
Yeah. Yeah, normally if you have a tether on like for falconry and stuff like that, it's on the foot, not on the wing. Obviously, this doesn't have a foot because of it's legless. Yeah, there's just a lot off, and then obviously the very pale skin could harken back to dark elves. I think this is one of those shadow elves. I think this is one of those Cthulhu elves that are being teased here. I really firmly, most other people are like, this is definitely Aelfie, and I think I would tend to agree here. I think that's probably what we're looking at.
Okay. So there you go. Yeah, stay on that. I don't think the viewers need to Inception and watch the show.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't forget you're sharing right now, Tom.
Yeah, it just dawned on me. Oops. Sorry, folks. I like to check comments, to interact with our viewers, and now you're getting to watch me interact with viewers. Exciting.
I'm going to stop sharing and go back to you. I'm going to leave it locked on you so it doesn't.
Okay.
So to try to remove all potential
audio pickups. Yes.
Yes.
Certainly. So that's definitely one of those. So this the Shadow Cthulhu elves. I'm really disappointed that we didn't get more. I was really hoping that we might get a glimpse of these guys. But it's not real surprising. I mean, it would have been a real hard, left turn or right turn for them to go from never announcing anything to us getting glimpses of multiple releases forthcoming in the coming months and year. That would just be very odd. Yeah, and then we have a Khorne Codex coming this next month. That's kind of weird. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it, man. Go. What are your thoughts? You go.
I'm excited. I don't have Khorne. But I mean, I have a bunch of Khorne models, but I don't actually I don't have any plans for them. But I think I might buy it. I don't know. More what it excites me is the possibility that we might get some more of these combined volumes down the road. I had lost heart with the Caradron Overlords, that we might be going back to the single faction books, and so to see a nice mix where it's appropriate, it's encouraging. I'm hoping that later on down the year we get a Children of Nurgle book that combines demons, mortals, and pestilence. I don't know, we probably won't, but I'm hoping that we do. So as the re-release of Pestilence with all of the new updated Nurgle stuff. Because with the maybe as a tail, my prediction would be as a tail on, you get that 40K Death Guard released or whatever, all those sweet models, and then after that has all launched for 40K, maybe a 1 week no model release for AOS. It's just the Children of Nurgle combined book. I could see something like that. And then maybe with that, I could even see them dropping with the Death Guard, maybe the, I don't know, maybe not. As I say, I could see them dropping a Greater Unclean one for our 40K brethren. That then an updated model that could then double over for us. Maybe even a Beast of Nurgle. So those are the two big updates that need to happen within the Nurgle line. But that's all obviously speculation.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say. If you had asked me before tonight, did I think Nurgle was going to get their combined book this year for AOS, I would have said no.
And then you saw that Death Guard, didn't you?
Then I saw the Death Guard, and it'd be such an easy extra week tacked on, as you mentioned, right? I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You've got the community actable. Why not slap that on there?
And then you have all of the major gods done, like other than Slaanesh, which they're already saving for a clear purpose. Yeah.
So, well, let's say this. It's only Wednesday. Who knows what we could see on the Shadow Elves? You never know. There's going to be lots of people asking them questions about it. I'll say that much.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm planning on cornering some GW folk in the next couple of days when I get there. And we may have more to report down the line, but we'll see.
I will say, you mentioned that. Go ahead.
I would say Pete Foley did mention on Twitter that there were still some surprises up their sleeve. Not like before, like going into Adepticon. So I'm not sure why. And I'm not sure why they held off on the Kharadron reveal. Well, probably Gamma. Probably the big box game convention. That's probably why they released the Kharadron before Adepticon. I was just trying to figure out why they would have leaked that when they did.
Not only did they release, obviously, the Kharadron, not only did they release those dwarves,
I can't hear you. Vince, please stop. Stop making us suffer. Okay. Try it again. Nope. No, Vince. Rest in peace, Vince. I'm sorry. It's clear that Pete Foley and Duncan and all those have slipped into your room and assassinated you. And we apologize for that. Thank you for your sacrifice to our show and for our community, so that we can get this information out. Those Eshin assassins have clearly done away with our intrepid host. So what I would say is this: I'm super excited about these releases and what this really speaks for the future of AOS in the next year. I think that there's a lot of potential. Some people have really kind of read my feedback for the Kharadron Overlords as negative last week, and I really don't. I want to encourage you guys. It's not. I'm not trying to be negative. That's not my intention. I think there's a lot of potential here, and I like what they're doing. I like that GW is really branching out and exploring their IP in a way that they have not previously done. Welcome back, Vince.
Thanks, man. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. Hey, we have a Vince back, everybody.
For the moment.
For the moment. I was just talking about how I have a fair bit of hope for the next year for AOS, and just kind of reflecting on, with the Kharadron, they were exploring some design space, and I really think that I like where we're going. And apparently, I think we might have lost. The Eshin assassins are. Oh, you are there. Okay, good. I'll say the Eshin assassins are back in on you.
You can paint. For the fifth time, I'm going to try to say this. You can paint the overlords if you do one of the painting classes with Duncan.
Oh, that's really neat. You don't get. Do you get to keep them? Do you get to keep them?
No, you don't get to keep them, but you get to paint, which is cool.
Oh yeah, that is cool. Kind of, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to paint those guys without an airbrush. All that metal, man. That means I'm not using my Vallejo metal color. That'd be painful.
Indeed, it would be.
So, well, good. Do you have any kind of summarizing thoughts as we kind of wrap up?
Because we should wrap up because it stopped torturing our viewers with this terrible internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I have our viewers' best interest in mind.
I appreciate
love
it. All right, I'll try to be with a quick wrap up.
Hey, and this is a good point. You could probably keep that miniature if you ran fast enough.
I said that last week. Yes, all you need to do to keep the miniatures is run real fast.
Yep.
Okay. The community efforts were awesome. Bringing Scroll Builder into the Warhammer community is absolutely fantastic. I talked to Tony. He's super excited. I think it's awesome. That come through okay?
It did. It did, in fact.
Good. The 40K stuff all will probably, I think, on balance, be received well. People lost their minds at the Death Guard. Lost their minds.
I'll bet they did.
Shadespire is a totally new type of game for Warhammer to get into, and my hope is that it's very successful. It combines a lot of the best elements of classic GW games into a seemingly really fast-paced, fun, competitive, organized match play game. That's my summation. Get into it. That's my thoughts, man. There we go. That's the Adepticon spoilers, buddy. That's all I got.
That's fantastic. Let me just say, as a brief mention, I would be remiss to mention this. Today also was the big day for Tyler Mengel's release. We covered this last week. That in a week, the new Tomb Kings book was dropping. And in fact, it did drop today to much fanfare on all the social media platforms and much arguing about the officialness of this tome and whether the units should be allowed in events. That debate, the inverse of the compendium debate, has now been ignited on all the social media platforms. You're welcome. So that'll be terrible to wade through people raging about how imbalanced this stuff is. But other than that, it's enjoyable. I would encourage you to go pick up Tyler's tome. It's a good read. I have thoroughly enjoyed the fluff as I've been going through. Obviously, I'm partial to some of the units. Vince, as he mentioned with the Khemric Titan, I also have already separated all my bits for some of the things that I'm going to be building. Vince, did you have something to say?
That's all. Titan. I'm very excited about the Titan.
Yes.
That's all.
I suspect I know what your conversion is going to be because you have extras of certain models, but I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah, it'll be exciting. And so I would encourage you to check that book out. Give it a try before you declare that it is overpowered or broken or whatever, a Hierophant or whatever your complaint is, whatever, maybe a spell. Go build some lists and play some mono Tomb Kings and then come back and tell me that. We can have that conversation then. But yeah, we will have the link below for the new Tomb Kings book from Tyler. Tyler and the team put in a ton of work. Mostly Tyler. The rest of us did a little bit of work, just a little bit. And Tyler's delivered us an amazing, amazing free product. So check it out. It's really kind of the height of the hobby is what he has accomplished in that text. So, well, thank you all for. What was that, Vince?
Agree. Link is below.
Yes.
Do you want to sign us off, Tom, since my internet sucks so bad?
Yep. I will. I want to thank everybody for viewing our both our most watched show and our most terrible show for the year with regard to video and audio and all the technical complications. We are excited. We may have some more coverage. Vince and I may do some live interviews at Adepticon while we're there, assuming that our internet does not continue to be terrible. And we, if we don't see you before then, we will see you next Wednesday. Happy gaming.